Incident occurred on Sunday in Tundumbiri, Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, when military airstrike targeted the community, resulting in the loss of lives. The airstrike, intended to neutralize terrorist threats, tragically claimed the lives of no fewer than 85 villagers who were gathered for a Maulid celebration, an Islamic event. The devastating incident sparked widespread outrage and condemnation, both locally and internationally. Residents of the affected communities expressed their shock and grief, while religious leaders and community representatives called for accountability and measures to prevent similar tragedies from happening again. And to give more perspectives to the issues, we have joining us tonight former lawmaker and rights activist, Senator Shehu Sani. He's also from Kaduna State. Welcome to the program, distinguished Senator.
Thank you for having me.
Are you satisfied with the response of the Kaduna State government? And then is there anything at the national level?
It's important that viewers understand the context and concept of what is happening in Kaduna State as far as security issues is concerned. In the last few years, almost about 70% of the state has been battling cases of banditry and terrorist attacks. Southern Kaduna is a well-known case when it comes to the issue of attacks by bandits and their unholy activities. Now, in central part of Kaduna, Birningwari and Igabi local government, where this incident happened, and Giwa local government are the flashpoints where terrorists have been launching attacks. Now, let's zero in on where these things happen. Tudunbiri is in Igabi local government. And I can tell you of 3 attacks that has happened in the last few years within that area. NDA was attacked, Nigerian Defense Academy. National School of Forestry Mechanization was attacked, which is the same local government. And airport quarters was attacked, which is also the same local government. So the attacks, all the attacks that happened in 3 places, there had never been one incident where the terrorists were either arrested, killed, or in any way neutralized. So this bombing of Tudunbiri could be said to be professional negligence in the sense that, well, it is a village, and whatever device you are using, whether man or man drone, crowd of people are celebrating within the center of the village. And the statement that came from the army is contradictory. First, they say it was a mistake, and secondly, they are justifying it with this fact that there were bandits or terrorists that they were pursuing, and so as such they took attack there. There is no law that permits you to go after a bandit or to bomb a bandit or attack there as long as he has crossed over to a civilian area. Even if bandits are embedded in a civilian quarters, you have to take precaution and take cognizance of the loss of lives that your operation can result to. So as far as I'm concerned, going by the history of these kind of things, you will see that if they were cautious, this couldn't have happened. If they work with intelligence, this couldn't have happened. But it had happened. And then it is left for the government at the federal and state level to take action to prevent further occurrence. But we have a history of these things happening. And it is because it's been happening, and the reasons they have been given, they have been justified, have been accepted by the government and the society, then they keep on doing it. The last one that happened was in Nasarawa State, I can remember, where the former Emir of Kano raised an issue on it, and most of us spoken. But it appears that the victims were blamed for being in their homes, for being where they should be. And as such, the military authorities took no responsibility. Now, if this happened, and all we do is try to explain the situation, that it's because bandits and terrorists, if it's just like what Israel is doing. If you suspect that there is a terrorist or a bandit in a civil area, shall you simply burn down the whole place, kill as many people, getting to 100 because of 1 or 2 terrorists. You shouldn't do that. There should be a best way in which you will extricate these terrorists and then ensure that the lives of people are protected. The sanctity of human life is very important. Can you tell me now that if a terrorist is located in a government reserve area or where the high and mighty are, so a similar attack will also take place? So I think what has happened is a tragedy. What has happened is a disaster. What has happened is a professional negligence. And there is nothing other than an unreserved apology. And it should be condemned. And also action must be taken. Because it is unacceptable to simply say a terrorist is, we are on a terrorist mission to counter terrorists, and as such, because of that, we attack. Shouldn't accept that. They must take responsibility. They must take cognizance of the need to protect human lives. And this is what they fail to do.
Okay, while extending our condolences to you, because I can see the pain, in your face. The action of the president, you see in Nigeria, the governor, what is your take on, representation? Maybe sending condolences by representation.
Well, you see, when, from my own little understanding, I think it's most likely the 2 personalities are not in the country. They may have been in Dubai for the COP28 conference. But it behoves on them, when tragedies like this happen, the first thing a leader should do is to suspend whatever he's doing, to see his own very presence within 24 hours. His presence is a moral booster, is a demonstration of sympathy, empathy, and concern. When you do that, you send a strong message of leadership that this is me, I feel your pain, and I'm here. And for the fact that you can sacrifice what you are doing for this goes a long way. It happens everywhere, every time. Leaders of the world, United States, Canada, UK, India, wherever, Russia, wherever there is a tragedy, you suspend what you're doing and then you have the present there. I understand assistance, aids can be sent, but it matters to see the principal boss, the head, the leader need to be seen on the ground, demonstrating, reaching out to the children, reaching out to women, showing empathy, being in hospital, being in the places where these things happen. The recent hurricane attack in Florida and the monsoon, you see Biden going to address the public in the rubbles where this thing happened. It sends a very powerful image. So this is what they need to do as of now. Their presence will give succor to the orphans, to the widows, to the widowers that whose life have been destroyed by this bombing. And they need to also ensure that they are supported not just when the media are out, but a sustained support. Kaduna State is almost under consistent attack by bandits and terrorists. In Birnin Gwarigo local government of recent, farmers can't access their farms, they have to pay levies and fines to terrorists. Many schools in rural areas are shut down because of the activities of terrorists. I've had cases of recent where farmers were killed and slaughtered in their farms. In that very local government, 2 years ago, that Igabi local government, in a village, 50 people were massacred. And all they took to them was a bag of rice and beans and some salt to them. So to me, if we don't take human life seriously, then there is nothing, because all other rights, all other privileges, all other guarantees and liberties are founded on right to life, and that has been seriously compromised in the activities of government.
Why are we not getting it right in Nigeria from 2014, March 16, because we did a timeline yesterday to, the incident of Sunday. 16 aerial attacks. Where are we getting it wrong? Is it deliberate? And if you look at the figures, 53, you have 30, you have 60, you have 40 here, you have 18, you have 20 here.
You see, wherever you have a war on terrorism, what the security and state apparatus need to understand is their obligation to protect human lives in as much as they are operating as a professional body. But from the past experiences of this, you wonder how these things takes place. This is a part of the country, Northwest, that has some of the most notorious terrorists still operating. You have Dogo Gide that kept about students from Federal Government College Bakuri for over 2 years, and there was never an attack that reached to him. You have Ado Aleru in Zamfara State, who was almost about to be given chieftaincy title. He operates freely and conducts interview. You have Turji. If you go through some of the interviews of Turji, he said the military cannot reach him, that he pity those only some people that do kill. It is there on the internet. You go through it and see. Then you have the likes of Baleria and Manjagara operating within Kaduna State. And never a time has all this bombing reached their camps. And story after story, each time any person is kidnapped and he comes out to tell a story, you will hear him saying in Hausa, "I soon had camp Adaji." They even have camps where they take these hostages. And you can stay in that camp for almost 2 to 3 to 5 months until negotiations are complete and ransom is paid. Where are all these surveillance aircraft? Why are all these places not bombed? Those are the questions. Now, you look at the history of which you have drawn further.
Yeah.
In
Across
State,
Borno, you have Zamfara, you have Yobe, you have Niger, you have Katsina, Nasarawa, and Kaduna.
From your statistics, I have counted 6 times in Borno State where there were terrorist attacks. And you have Zamfara, you have Katsina, and you have Niger. Now, in the case of Niger, some few years ago, I can remember, the vigilantes that were in the forefront of supporting and augmenting and complementing the activities of the military in attacking the holdouts of those bandits were the ones that were directly targeted, and many were killed.
Yes.
The vigilantes. Now, how can you, as a professional body, be working with such group of vigilantes providing necessary support that you need to say you have mistaken them for bandits? What could that have? What does that mean? Now, in Ran, I can remember.
Yes.
It was almost a refugee camp or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. They were attacked. Many people were killed and nothing happened about it. Then in the case of Nasarawa State.
Oh, January 2017.
Yes.
January 17.
Yes. In the case of Nasarawa State, the military at that time under the last administration were even angry with people who are raising issues. They were even exchanging words with us from the human rights community that they were terrorists there and they are justifying their actions. Now, when you have an unapologetic institution like this that behaves so arrogantly, you won't win the war that you want.
So where are they getting the courage, the military? Because like today, they were completely not sober in their statement. You can see they just justify.
This is what I'm saying now. The first time, they admitted it was a mistake. But later, they have withdrawn their apology by justifying it and by saying that they were in legitimate pursuit of terrorists. Now, which law of operation gives you the right to drop a bomb in a crowd of people, even if there is a terrorist there? Even if there is a terrorist in a place, 1 terrorist or 2, you cannot kill 80 to 90 people. So the very people you are supposed to protect, you are killing them in the name of protecting them or going after terrorists. They get the courage to continue to do this thing here because there is impunity. Nobody does anything to them. They operate. Well, the army belongs to us. They are serving us. And we understand they are operating in very difficult circumstances and that they are laying their lives to protect us. But question does not mean that a democratic state cannot question their activity. Does not mean that because you are in a military operation, you will just kill so much number of people and justify it in the name of fighting terror. You cannot, all the fight is about protecting people, protecting the sanctity of life. But if you kill people too, the thin line between you and the terrorists cannot be much differentiated. So as far as I'm concerned, I believe that because governments have always treated these things with kid gloves, and that's why it kept operating. To me, I know, whether it is a man or a man drone, there is the necessary technology to give you the necessary intelligent information that these are people. And look at the way it happened. Revelations and testimonies, the narratives coming in. There was first bomb, and then there was second bomb. So could this be a mistake? You send the first bomb, it killed people. People went about collecting corpses, trying to dress them, and then the second bomb was dropped. So if the first bomb was a mistake, what happens to the second one?
You are very cautious to describe the act as professional negligence. Can we conclude that it was really deliberate, maybe to wipe out the community?
To me, I don't see the reason why they should wipe out the community in the sense that that community has been peaceful. But
maybe because they are allegedly harboring the criminals.
Well, from the statement which they are making now, can give credence to the point that it was a deliberate act. Because if you said that you are in legitimate pursuit of terrorists, it means that the village there, Tudumbiri, are suspected of harboring terrorists. But the question is, which law gives you permission to kill 100 people because of one terrorist or two terrorists? And is that the best way to do it? If you have a snake in your house, do you burn the whole house because you want to kill the snake? You cannot do that. So they are wrong, and there should be a serious investigation on this. The National Assembly, the Senate House of Reps, must put this issue on the front burner, discuss it, investigate it, and bring the culprits to book and ensure that these things never happen again.
Other activists like you, especially from Northern Extraction, they've been saying that this thing has happened not once, not twice, not thrice, 16 on the record. We don't know, the ones that have not been reported, and nothing was done by either the National Assembly or any other group, maybe regional groups. So today we have had feelers saying people like you should go to ECOWAS court or even International Court of Justice to seek redress for these people. Over 120 people. Do you advocate for that?
Well, before we go to ECOWAS, first of all, let us wait and see. The issue is being tabled before the state and before the federal government. What action will they take? And we have an institution, we have a government in place. What action have they taken? Will they take on the matter? If they don't take action on the matter, it's then that you think of going beyond them. But for now, the president and the state government have a duty and responsibility to ensure justice is done as far as the killing of these innocent people. It's done. When it is not done, then you go further to argue. But for now, allow them to do their job.
Where is the real problem, distinguished senator, especially around Kaduna? Kaduna has never known peace in the last couple of years. And it's like the situation has gotten for worse after May 29. I may be wrong, but what is your take? Where is the real problem?
Let me tell you where it is. From 2015 to 2023, Kaduna recorded the highest number of deaths as far as terrorist attack was concerned. I think I read it somewhere in the Nation newspaper, almost at the point of almost about getting to 100,000 people were kidnapped, and half of that number were killed. Kaduna is divided into three zones: the southern Kaduna zone, the central, and the northern part. Now, as far as the southern part is concerned, they have never known peace for almost 8 years. Terrorists have been reaching out to villages, burning down, killing people, and kidnapping people. But in the central, 3 local governments are the major flashpoints, like I've said: Birningwari, Igabi, and the Giwa local governments. So in parts of Birningwari, the terrorist group, we have ISIS, you have Boko Haram, you have Ansaru, you have bandits. They have even carved out territories of control for themselves.
They have shared the
yes, and they even provide protection to villages against other terrorist groups. This is the level to which things have gone bad in the last 8 years. So you can see that there are ungoverned spaces, there are places that are in full control of terrorists, and this is all part of our country. All because nothing significant has been done. Let's ask ourselves a question. Why is it in Jigawa and Kano State? They are all in part of the Northwest. They don't have security challenges. It is because the governors of those two states that have started, both the Ganduje and Badaru, have been very serious about security during their time. They don't take lightly any slight attack. They don't take lightly any slight incidents. And even the governor that succeeded Ganduje too is maintaining that legacy. Abba is also doing it. Kano is safe, Jigawa is safe. Then what happens? Why should a state that borders Kano, which is Kaduna State, still, why is Katsina that borders Kano is in that state? These are the questions we need to ask. It appears that those who led those states have not seriously committed themselves to the security of people of that.
Maybe you are referring to Rufai, for instance.
Yes, of course, that is it. He has done nothing as far as Kano, other than making noise all those years. And this is what has led us to where we are today. In the sense, for now, there are improvements as far as Kaduna-Abuja roads are concerned. The cases of kidnapping are very rare. And even there were threats to attack the train in the last few months, but government has taken an action. If you're moving from Rigasa to Kubwa and to Idu, you will see military stationed at strategic places. This has happened under this administration, which is very good. But what has not changed is what is happening in Birnungwari, what's happening in Giwa. Killings are continuing. In Kajuru, Kaduna State, there are many farmers still in the hands of terrorists now. People find it difficult. They don't have money to retrieve their own loved one. So this is the situation we find ourselves in Kaduna State to the time that we are now. And I believe that if action is not taken, it's going to get worse. Kaduna is the only state where you have consistency of kidnapping in school. Terrorists attack the Greenfield University, kill students and kidnap students. Terror attack Bethel Baptist High School in Kajuru. They kill students, they kidnap students. Terrorists attack School of Agri-Mechanization in Kaduna State. They kill students and kidnap students. So these are all incidences that happen within Kaduna State alone. And the governor of the past has done nothing. So it is time for the federal government to come to the aid of Kaduna State and save us from the hands of terrorists and bandits.
Beyond temporary measures, what do you think will be the final solution to these incessant attacks, especially in North Central?
You see, you cannot...
And Northwest,
yeah,
of course.
You see, you cannot fight terrorism without the cooperation of people in this community. The military, the security apparatus of the state need the intelligence, need the support, need the solidarity of the masses, the peasants and the ones living in the periphery of the city, to give them the necessary information for them to launch attack. But the questions need to be asked. Why is it with all the trillions of naira we have pumped into defense and security in the last 8 years, still some of these top-ranking terrorists are still roaming freely? We have seen video upon video of terrorists moving on motorcycles in Niger State, in Kaduna State, in Zamfara State, without attacks launched on them. Sometimes you even see Abosus Wuchi, let them pass. So if you don't launch attacks on terrorists on motorcycles, who are you going to kill? And then we hear, Google and see, that bombing has neutralized so number of terrorists, and the next day you see them moving on. There was a time it was even said that Bello Turji in Zamfara State was cornered, and he was even begging for freedom. But it happens to be all hawks. So if we want to get down and address this problem of terrorism, then we have to show no mercy specifically targeted at these terrorist heads. Turji is still operating freely. Aleru is still operating freely. Baleri is still operating freely. Dogogide is still operating freely.
Are they in cohort with some powerful people?
Well, the question you need to ask yourself is this. All these monies that have been gathered and been taken to these terrorists, what do they use it for? In Bethel Baptist High School, I was there after the kidnapping happened. And I've seen how women sold their homes, sold their lands, sold their personal possession to gather money and pay ransom. And the state government in Kaduna did nothing at that time. I was there in Greenfield University when terrorists launched attacks and kidnapped over 200 students. Over 280 million naira was gathered by the parents of the students, given to terrorists to retrieve their ones, and about 5 students were killed. In School of Agri Mechanization, Mondo, the parents spent over 180 million naira. Some went into loans, some sold their possessions, some borrowed money from family and friends to retrieve their loved ones from the hands of terrorists. And the state government did nothing. The attack that happened on the train, many of the families of those people who were attacked are today homeless. Since the attack happened, and then their loved ones came back home after paying hefty sum of money, no government has sat down with them and said, this is a refund of the money you have paid. None. We ask ourselves questions. If there are no powerful forces behind these terrorists, where does the money go? If you look at all these riffraffs on the ground who are said to be involved in this kidnapping, if you happen to meet one of them, you won't see even a shirt worth 1,000 naira on his body. So it shows that the money goes to somewhere and to somebody. Because narratives and revelations coming in from former victims of this kidnapping, they said that those who kidnapped them threatened them that don't waste your time, that if you attempt to run or to do anything, you are simply wasting your time. We have our connections. Until and unless the government is able to break this code and reach out to the financiers, the sponsors and beneficiaries of these abductions, these things is not going to come to an end.
Okay, we have run out of time, but I want your take. What should government do to survivors of this carnage in Kaduna?
First of all, there is a need to take the inventory of the casualties, the children, the women, and the men that were killed. And secondly, to take the inventory of the families they left behind. If they were alive, they are the breadwinners of their families. Government have to take both short and long-term responsibility. They have to rebuild that village, one. They have to compensate, serious compensation, not just hand out a palliative mantra of sharing rice and beans to people in a small pack. Not that. They have to sit down with them, pay them what is due as far as compensation is concerned. And the last point of it is to take care and responsibility of the ones, the young people, young children they left behind.
All right, thank you very much, distinguished Senator Shehu Sani, for coming to the program and for your informed perspective on this.
Thank you.
We have to have you some other time. Thank you for coming. And viewers, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, conversation with another guest continues. Don't go away.